What's up, guys? Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. Thanks for pressing play. Thanks for being the best part of the Corvette Weekly show. If you guys haven't been here before, if anybody's new in the house, this is, of course, the Corvette show that happens every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we talk about anything and everything Corvette, be it rumors, maintenance items, ownership experiences, news, whatever you want to call it. If it's Corvette, you'll find it here. So, yeah, guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Monday before Corvettes at Carlisle 2025. So, yeah, kind of a big day here. If you guys are planning on going to Carlisle, we're actually going to put out, I'm going to start a poll here in a second to see how many of you guys are actually going to Carlisle, because I would obviously love to see you there. But not just that, I'm kind of curious what the turnout's going to be like this year. So I'm going to start the poll down here in a second. Are you going to Carlisle this year? Yes or no? Pretty easy, guys. There's the poll. Let me know if you're going, because it would be cool to see it for sure. Yeah, Glass City Car Nerd, Jamie, we'll see you there for sure. I know Professor Corvette's going. Yeah, from what I've seen, the new Corvettes, well, I hate to say the new Corvettes because these are concept cars, but they look cool, but at the same time, I know at least one of them is fully electric. So we'll see. Now, they've talked about these concept Corvettes before, and the way that they discuss them is it's not the C9. It's not even necessarily the C10. It's just a concept future Corvette. So this thing could end up being a C20. So they specifically did not like it whenever I called it the C9. They didn't like that. Chevy specifically. I put C9 in the title just to grab attention whenever I first was talking about it, and they said, no, take that out. It's not a C9. So if that tells you anything, the C9 is not going to look anything like those concept cars. They literally didn't want that even in the title. So that's one thing to talk about. But guys, we have a lot of different things to discuss tonight. Obviously, Corvettes at Carlisle is going to be a big one. I know, obviously, Shane's in the house, guys. Telling on you for not pressing the thumbs ups. Let's see how many, can we get 200 thumbs ups for the return of Shane? Shane's actually local right now. He's staying at a hotel a couple miles down the road from where I live here. We were both getting some expel on our cars today. So anyway, Corvettes at Carlisle. 10 Second CO6 will be there. Professor Corvette will be there. Jamie, Glass City Car Nerd, will be there. DBM Racing, David will be there. Kevin Horan will be there, it looks like. Mean Peterson, she's usually there. Let me know if you're coming. Lewis, Larry, I'm not sure if you're coming or not, but it would be cool to see you there as well. Austin, I think you came last year, I believe it was. You should come out again for sure. Riptide Rick, I'd like to see all you guys there for sure. So if you're even thinking about coming to Carlisle, just do it. Come out, hang out at the booth. Seriously, I'm going to pop up a tent. We're going to have coolers with drinks in them. Come hang out. Literally come spend the day with the horsepower obsessed crowd, the crew, whatever. Me, Dana, David, Shane. I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody. Joe from Solar Performance will be there, of course. Again, guys, if you want to do anything with the Solar Performance installs, you definitely want to check those out. Links are in the description down below. You're going to call Tiffany and get yourself set up. But if not, at this point, you would have to come to the actual show and talk to us right there at the show about it. You can still get the same install, even if you don't pre-book. It's just to make sure that you don't get lost in the sea of craziness, basically. So, yeah, so one of the things, guys, I do want to talk about is the HPO Vet Exchange. Joe can't be with us today, so it's going to be me talking to you about it this time. The horsepowerobsessed.com website, up here at the top, click on HPO Vet Exchange, and we now have, of course, the C5 still going. It's only going to be here for another week, guys. The C5 Corvette. Make sure if you're interested in grabbing this thing, 37 grand for a car that has well over $100,000 into it. Check it out. It can be yours. If you're not interested in the C5, the C8 Corvette, we just lowered the price from 72 to 74 to 72. So if you're interested in grabbing an updated C8 Corvette with over $107,000 in it for 72 grand, save yourself, what, 30 some grand? Well, why not? You should try it out. Let me know if you're interested in any of these guys. Again, horsepowerobsessed.com will get you to the place you need to be to make that happen. So anyway, let's see where we're at with this poll. Surprisingly, not a lot of people. More not going than going. Hot Rod Todd says 14 hours is too far for him. No Joler tonight. No, he will be at Carlisle though. So if you want to meet him, stop by the booth. Horsepower Obsessed. I'll be right beside AWE, and on the other side of me will be Chevrolet. So I'll be kind of sandwiched in between. Definitely come by, say hi. All right, Larry won't be there. Oh, Mr. O's coming. Awesome. Make sure you stop by the booth. Anybody that is coming to the show, make sure you stop by the booth, hang out. Like I said, grab a couple drinks, just hang out and chat. That's what it's all about. Yep, like I said, guys, Shane's in the house. Everybody say hi to Shane. He will be at the booth as well with his C8 Z06. Guys, smash the thumbs up button if you like the content. We're going to be talking about a lot of Corvette stuff here in a second, kind of getting the Corvettes at Carlisle thing out of the way. And, of course, the sponsor of August is AWE. So AWE is offering free installs at their location, not at Carlisle this year. So at their actual headquarters, on Wednesday and Thursday, they're offering free installs of their exhaust. So if you guys want to get an exhaust installed, check out the link in the description down below. Again, you can click on it, sign yourself up, head out there, get it done for free. And trust me when I say, getting a reputable place to install an exhaust on a car like a C8 is really tough to find. So if you can get it done for free from AWE, what better place to do it than the place that literally built the exhaust? That's what I'm doing. Looks like we got 47 thumbs ups currently, guys. Let's keep rolling with those. Looks like 10 seconds 06 says 21 people going so far with 57 votes. Okay, that's still a good bit of people. Steven, I will actually be driving by myself this year in my car, but I'm going out to AWE. I'm leaving tomorrow afternoon, then heading back to Carlisle afterwards because I'm going to get me an AWE exhaust installed on my C8 Z06. I'm going to take advantage of them free install things I've been hearing about. No, nothing for Darren, not coming to Carlisle. We got to meet one of these days, man. Aaron, AARPM, he'll be there Thursday through Saturday. That's the way to do it, man. Stick around the whole time. Why not? Come hang out at the booth. Like I said, Shane will be there. We'll all be there. 50 thumbs ups currently, guys. Let's keep blasting those. Yeah, Robert Brun says the CX concept is electric and has 2,000 horsepower. So it's pretty crazy what they can do with these cars nowadays. I mean, we think 1,064 is ridiculous with the C8 ZR1. How about 2,000? Yeah, we're a little bit away from that, though. Like I said, Chevy did not want anybody calling that a C9, so it's definitely not coming for the ninth generation. Maybe a C10, maybe. We'll see. Kevin Reynolds says, Justin, what do you think of the Paragon Performance Falcon design plenum cover? I've gotten this question a lot, believe it or not, Kevin. I don't love it. Personally, I don't love it. I think it's a great option. I personally like the carbon fiber covers that I went with better from Hulse Designs, but the Falcon design one's not bad if that's what the route you want to go. I personally feel like if you're worried about any of the covers holding in heat, which I've gotten a lot of questions about on my carbon fiber one, those are two separate pieces that allow the heat to escape out the sides, where that Falcon design plenum cover is one solid piece of metal, much more likely to insulate the heat on the engine on top of the actual intake there. So I personally would go with the carbon fiber cover or go the route of getting them custom painted. That's where I would be. 61 thumbs ups. Let's keep rocking those guys. Yeah, that's another one. Bill Miller brings it up. 900 horsepower out of a 2-liter V8. And that thing sounds insane. First off, I've never even heard of a 2-liter V8. That thing, that's small. But that thing sounded insane. General Lee says, what's up, Justin? Loving the new Z06. Seawolf Gray is amazing. Absolutely, man. We're going to miss you at Carlisle this year, General. But I'm loving the Seawolf myself. Every time I see that car sitting out in the sun, in the sun, it looks the best. I mean, I know you're a fan, obviously, of the carbon ceramic, or the carbon, ceramic matrix gray. Man, there's too many carbon things going on. And that color is very dependent on light too, depending on what shade you're going to see. So we're kind of in the same boat. 10 Seconds Z06 says he likes the Z06 intake painted better than a cover. I think I can get behind that. The covers look good if you do the carbon fiber one, in my opinion, but the painted intakes look good too. Brandon's Garage said the Falcon ones look heavy. That I agree, and they're metal, so I mean they're going to be heavy. Outside of heavy, it's one solid piece, which kind of feels like it's going to trap heat in, which obviously we don't want to do that. Wow. Professor Corvette says if they can do 900 horsepower with 2 liter, that extrapolates to 2,475 horsepower with a 5.5 liter. 15,000 RPM. Yeah, dude, it sounded nuts. Austin, you planning on going to Carlisle this year? I'm not sure if you answered that question or not, but pretty disappointing they got rid of the grays. I agree. I feel like Chevy has to have something coming that's going to wow us as far as grays and silvers are concerned, because right now it's just like you got one option, you know, and that even that's new for 26. So it's like you don't really have much. Steven Rapp says, I love the Seawolf, but would never bet on you getting that color. You guys, if you rewind back way to 2024, I know that's a long time ago. I have a video that I put out the first time of me actually seeing Seawolf Gray in person down at Blackout Tinting. And I talked about it being up there in my favorite color list. I called it my third favorite color because it's black, red, and then Seawolf. And I love torch red on the car, but I don't like torch red with exposed carbon fiber. If you do torch red, in my opinion, it has to be carbon flash with it. That's how I would do it. So in order to maintain my CFO or carbon fiber exposed or carbon fiber obsessed personality here, I had to get a color that would work with carbon fiber. And of course, Seawolf looks ridiculously good with carbon fiber. Hello to all the HPO family, says Bill Miller. Yeah, that's true. Hot Rod Todd says, only drawback to the painted manifolds, they are not easy to clean. That rib design does make it hard to clean. The smooth design of the carbon fiber covers from Hulse Designs, super easy. Just saying. Get those things ceramic coated. Can really just wipe them down with a microfiber and you're good to go. Riptide Rick says, Justin, on the Paragon coolant cap, is that the same as the Stingray? The oil cap is Z06 only. Yes, it's the same as the Stingray, and the only reason the oil cap is Z06 only is because it says on the cap what kind of oil it takes. Otherwise, it's the same fit. Looks like we got 65 thumbs ups, guys. Let's keep rocking this. We got 12 minutes to hit 100. Let's hit 100 in the first half an hour, and then another 100 in the second half an hour. Anthony George, let me know what you think of the new Santorini Blue. If you see it in person, I absolutely will. It should be there from what I understand. Yeah, LT4 Powered says he does remember me being iffy with Hypersonic Gray. Loved Hypersonic Gray on paper. Loved the pictures I saw. When I saw it in person, immediately I knew it wasn't for me. In a kind of overcast lighting, it has a lot of great green in it. And I mean a lot of green. So in 2024, the bash that we went to, there was a Hypersonic Gray Z06 sitting beside a new Cacti Z06. And I saw them during the day, easily could tell them apart. Towards the end of the night, when it started to get like twilight outside, I was looking at those cars. I could not tell which one was Seawolf and which one was Hypersonic Gray. They were both extremely green. And that was just like, that was a turnoff for me. I did at that point, just that color was gone for as far as I was concerned. Stephen Rapp says, what feeling do you get driving a new color? I bet it's a perpetual smile. I saw it sitting outside today. I was getting some PPF put on the new carbon fiber pieces that you guys will see here soon. And just looking out the window at it, it's a good feeling. It's a nice feeling. It's definitely a completely different, it's a departure from black without a doubt. And not that I never claimed that every single car I'm ever going to own in my entire life is going to be black, but it is nice to get away from that from time to time. Bill Miller will be at Carlisle as well, guys. He'll be under the booth, so be sure if you want to meet Bill, Shane, Dana, Joe from Solar, myself, my wife, come out and say hi. David, DBM Racing will be there as well, so come say hi if you want to meet us. Hanging with Shane, that is the interior color. That's the color of the interior, the new blue color that they have. Sam says, checking in for the thumbs up. Looking forward to seeing you this week. That's right. He's coming to Carlisle too. He'll be hanging out at the booth as well, guys. Come say hi. 79 thumbs ups. Heck yeah, guys. Let's keep rolling with those. 82 now, looks like. Got 10 minutes to hit 100. We need 18 more. Shark gray is a great color. That should come back. I totally agree. Austin says, I really think Roswell green should have a matching contrast stitch and calipers. I like the color, but I'm OCD with color flow. Totally understand it, man. It's odd to me that they would have added a blue stitch, but not a green to kind of go with it. Now, if that Roswell green sells really well, I bet you that would be something that changes in the future. We probably will get something like that. Jay Brazelton says Seawolf will keep clean easier. Believe it or not, my car is absolutely filthy right now. And I just haven't had a chance to wash it since getting back and forth to Ohio to get my stuff from Racing Sport Concepts. Black is really not that hard to maintain as long as you have Expel, PPF, and ceramic coating on it. If you do, I've had no problems maintaining my black cars. Kevin Reynolds says, I watched your video with C8 Rally Driver parts. I ordered the same parts that you featured due to ship in September. Awesome. Did you use the HPO discount code, Kevin? Because that will save you 10%. Yeah, Squirrel Cage Garage, keeping us all on point. He says, let's talk about this E-Ray High Wing. So one of the first bits of things to discuss here today is going to be that the E-Ray High Wing is now available to order. If you guys didn't see this, this was actually in a release trailer from GM whenever they were talking about, oddly enough, the 2026 interior. They showed the back end for a hot second, and everybody thought for a second, they were like, ooh, that's a weird looking Z06 spoiler. It's actually for the E-Ray. So there's 3 posts, and it's a little bit higher than the stock Z51 wing on a Stingray, but not quite as high as the Z06 or Z07 wing. It's kind of an interesting look, and it gives the E-Ray its own thing. So now the E-Ray has its own wing where it's not just the dovetail that you could also get on the Z06, but if you see this wing from the back, you're going to immediately know that's an E-Ray. So you guys at this point probably know how I feel about the E-Ray, but at the same time, it's really cool to see it getting some of its own love, becoming its own thing. So it says here this week's fleet distribution guide update has some good news. We are glad to see the initial restriction on to order the E-Ray's new 3-post wing has been removed, so now it is actually available. Now, what is not pretty interesting, not good news, we should say, to go along with this, is that we now have had at least 3 order cycles for 2026, a 2026 car. And out of those 3 order cycles, all 3 of them are still showing Z07 packages for the Z06 on constraint. So we are 3 years into this car, 3 months into the 2026 ordering, and you still can't get a Z07 package. Now, even worse than that, there's been no allocations for the ZR1. 3 rounds in and no allocations for a ZR1. Interesting, right? I would say it's kind of not interesting. It's kind of crappy. But it is what it is, I guess. Brandon's Garage says Justin's trash can has a picture of an E-Ray. That is not true. Not true. You're going to make people think I hate that car. I do not. Let's just start this off with I do not hate the E-Ray. The E-Ray is just not for me. That's all I need to say. There's a lot of cars out there that aren't for me that I wouldn't say that I hate. 29 people going from the poll now, so that's pretty solid. Almost 30 people out of the 150 people in here watching are actually going to Carlisle. That's pretty cool. 89 thumbs ups currently, guys. We need 11 more in 6 minutes. Let's smash that thumbs up button. Let's get this stuff rolling here, guys. Let's get to 100. You got to make Shane proud. This is the first show that he's made it to in, I don't know, at least a month. So make him proud. Let's hit 200 tonight, guys. Hot Rod Todd says ZR1 builds are still making up for the 25s they didn't make. As far as I knew, I thought they stopped. I thought they were done with the 25s at this point. And if that's the case, they only turned out a little over 100 2025s. So the rest of those guys are going to get bumped to a 2026 for sure. Anthony George says, it's not the trash can, it's his doormat. Come on, come on. Professor Corvette says, how many Brandons does E-Ray get? Well, the Brandon voting or the Brandon rating scale is supposed to be a good thing. So if I were to give a certain amount of Brandons to an E-Ray personally, I would say probably a 2.5 out of 5. 2.5 Brandons out of 5 is where I would personally put the E-Ray. If at some point during the E-Ray run, the C8 in general, the E-Ray drops its price $10,000 to $15,000, and that's not just, off of MSRP. I want to see GM actually physically drop that price 10 to 15 grand. I would change that rating. I think the car is amazing if it's cheaper. 97 thumbs ups. 99. All right, guys. Looks like we hit the 100 for 8 o'clock. Let's keep rolling. Let's get to 200 by 8:30. Yeah, they are done. Steven says they're done, but they are making those 2026 first. So like 190 of them. Yep. And that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen allocations yet, is because the first 190 extra orders that should be made up for the 2025 guys that aren't getting one are going straight to them. Those will be 26 cars. But don't make any mistake. The 2026 allocations are still going to be very few and far in between for the C8ZR1. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if they're making up orders or if they're just building the cars normally. It's going to be tough to see one of these things. AARPM, no takeover shirt for Carlisle. No, I didn't want to do it again. I felt like it was too much of it's too close. So maybe next year we'll do a Carlisle takeover shirt and not a Bash takeover. I don't like the idea of doing both. It just seems too much like a cash grab. So we will have somewhat of a special shirt at Carlisle, though. Me and Solar Performance kind of put together a special shirt. So if you want to see that, come out to the show. They'll be for sale, as well as all my new shirts, like the Mountain Dew shirt and the Metallica font shirt. Those will be there as well. So come out, grab a t-shirt. I like the way this guy thinks. Professor Corvette says, don't all horsepower says t-shirts count towards the takeover? Yeah, they do. Kevin Reynolds says, do you think GM will drop the E-Ray platform when the Grand Sport comes out? I do. So there's multiple reasons for this. And if you guys rewind again way back, I did a live video with Street Speed probably about 2 years ago, maybe a little less than 2 years ago. And we talked about how we both felt that the E-Ray was not going to stay in the official lineup of C8 Corvette forever. That eventually GM was going to kind of kill off the E-Ray and bring something in to replace it. And that is the Grand Sport. I mean, the E-Ray was supposed to replace the Grand Sport as it is. So now it looks like it might be vice versa. We might get a Grand Sport that replaces the E-Ray. And then the Grand Sport will have a little bit of a bump in horsepower, plus, of course, the wide body of the Z06. Because there is a rumor that the Grand Sport will have actually a totally different engine than the Stingray does currently, producing roughly 20 to 50 more horsepower than the current LT1 does. So, I'm sorry, the LT2. So if we got something that would produce, 20 to 50 more horsepower, plus then have the option to add the hybrid front motor like you do with the ZR1X, maybe we get a Grand Sport X that is basically the E-Ray So there would be no point to have the E-Ray in the lineup anymore. A lot of people speculated that the problem with the E-Ray, the reason it wasn't selling so well, was because of the name. So replacing it with the Grand Sport name would definitely help sales. So yeah. Ricky says it'll be a LT3 most likely. It could be. I mean, they could really call this thing anything. That's the only thing I haven't heard any kind of confirmation of is what the name would be. But assuming the Grand Sport comes, and I've been hearing this for years now that the Grand Sport was coming. So assuming that actually does come, it is most likely coming with a slightly different engine than what we have now in the Stingray. Yeah, Bill Miller says the E-Ray was a live test version for the ZR1X. It certainly looks that way. Yeah, GSX. That would be kind of a cool name. Kind of a cool name. I've never been a big fan of the Grand Sport in general. That platform never really spoke to me too much. For me, it was always like, get a Stingray or get a ZR1 or a Z06. I didn't really understand that in between. But if they do something like that with the Grand Sport, where they give it a little bit of a bump over the Stingray as far as power is concerned, and then also offer the all-wheel drive aspect to it, it could be cool. It could have been that as well. And that still kind of funnels down to the same thing, though, Shane. Shane says, could it have been the crappy marketing concept and push as well with the E-Ray? And it absolutely was. But the problem is that is now, like it or not, that's tied to the name. So from here forward, anytime someone hears E-Ray, that's what they remember is the crappy marketing and the concept and push. So that's that. The only way to get out of it at this point is to kill it completely and replace it with something else that's ultimately the same thing, just with a different name, and give it a better marketing backing. Yeah, the Stingray's never going to go anywhere, if that's what was said. Yeah, so Professor Corvette says, controversial, time to drop the Stingray, question mark. That will never happen. And the only reason it won't happen is because just like all of the Corvettes up to this point, the Stingray is going to be the car that nets GM the most actual money. So if you buy a 3LT loaded Stingray, that is the car that nets GM the most money. They don't net as much on even a loaded Z06. So the Stingray's always, they never drop the entry level car. That will never happen. They want to keep it. They want to be able to say, starting at under 70 grand. Whereas, you get a ZR1 and you're pushing easy into almost the 300s of thousands. But you could get a Stingray for under 70 grand. So that's true. GM already trademarked GSX in the early 70s with the Buick. They've trademarked a lot of stuff, though, guys. That's one thing you got to remember with these things. They trademark they copyright these patents, they trademark the patents, whatever it is. And they did it a lot in 2019, like late 2019, early 2020, before we actually saw the C8 Stingray. There was leaked patents all over the place from GM talking about active aero. It was active splitters, active side skirts, active spoilers, all of these active aero concepts. And they were all, trademarked. And nothing happened with it in the C8 generation. The Grand Sport moniker has been trademarked at least 2 times, maybe 3 times now in the C8 generation. We haven't seen anything with it yet. The Zora moniker was trademarked recently. Well, not recently, within the last couple months, years with the C8 generation as well. We haven't seen anything with that yet. So just because it's trademarked or patented, whatever, it doesn't mean they're going to use it in the C8 generation. We might not see it till C9, C10. Kevin Reynolds says, the question I've always asked is, why is Stingray spelled with 2 words in the earlier years and by 1 word on the C7? They try to change things up a little bit with each generation, I've noticed. That's why, like, the Corvette emblem, the flag will change. Just, from the C7 to the C8, it was literally just pushed together a little bit. Like, it doesn't change much, but it's just enough to let you know you're looking at a new generation. So maybe that's why. That's a good point. Squirrel Cage Garage says the GSX was also the Mitsubishi Eclipse. That was the good Eclipse. That was the all-wheel drive turbo Eclipse. That was the one everybody wanted. 109 thumbs ups currently, guys. Let's keep going. Looks like we got 150 people watching, so smash those thumbs ups for me and us. Shane's in here. We'd love to hit 200 for his first time back. That would be awesome. Yeah, Chili Pepper Z06 says it was criminal to give the E-Ray a wide body. To the Z06 owners, totally agree. The E-Ray should not have been a Z06 copy, because if you don't know what you're looking for and you saw an E-Ray and a Z06 sitting side by side, not the Z07 package Z06, but just a Z06 and an E-Ray, it would be almost impossible for you to differentiate which one's which. Yeah, the ZX concept also has active aero. Yes, it does. And this is why GM was pretty insistent on not calling this thing a C9, because we're years away from anything that's going to look anything like those concept cars. It's that simple. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about the most. Nice. 10 seconds 06 says his turbo all-wheel drive 95 Eclipse is a GSX. I wanted one of those things so bad. So bad. Never could get it either. 111 thumbs ups. 113 currently. Generally says, do you think the new concept car will actually be a C10 rather than a C9? I would say C10 at absolute earliest. Chevy has been emailing me information early, and then I'm embargoed on it to put it out at a later date, basically. And they give you kind of like verbiage to look at, and in the verbiage it's specifically said, don't call this a C9. It's not a C9. This car is far enough away, it's not going to be a C9. So C10 is more likely than a C9, but at the same time, I mean, we could be looking at a C12, we could be looking at a C20. There's no way to know. And that car, it looks futuristic enough that there's no doubt in my mind, like, look at this thing. This is not coming in a couple years. Like, that looks nothing like anything that we've seen on the road. So, I mean, look at the size of the spoiler on this car compared to everything else. The spoiler is almost bigger than the entire car. And not only that, some of the videos showing this car was at the Quail, this real high-end bougie car show. That's probably not the right word to use, but you guys know. And they were showing it to get it in and out of it. Yeah, here it is. To get in and out of it, the whole top like opens up like the freaking Batmobile. Like, this is just, we're far away from this. This is not something coming anytime soon. I've seen these concept cars before in the past, and it's like the C7 Corvette concept car that they used in the Transformers movie. It was a cool looking concept car, but the C7 came out and looked nothing like that. Absolutely nothing like it. So even if this was a C9, or, you know, GM's they were pretty insistent on not calling it a C9. So let's say it's a C10. Even if the C10 came out, odds are very good. It's not going to look much like this, if anything like this. It'll take some design cues here and there. Maybe we'll see a similar design on the wheels, but for the most part, you're not going to see a car that looks like that. But yeah, it does say the propulsion system for the CX concept is an all-wheel drive electric with 4 motors that are mounted on each wheel to provide more than 2,000 horsepower. And it features 4-wheel torque vectoring for maximum grip and cornering. The EV has a 90 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery mounted to the chassis. These all sound like great things. It wouldn't surprise me if none of that's true. It literally would not surprise me if not one word there, that car actually has any of that in there. I can see, you can see in the interior here, a pretty heavy use of forged carbon fiber. So you can see it on the corner of the picture there where the hood is, the thing that opens up so you can get in the interior, around the steering wheel and all that stuff. That's forged carbon fiber. That's something GM's never used that in the past. I've never seen that on any of their cars. I've heard that forged carbon is easier to make, thus kind of helping with possibly the constraint problem that we have. But again, I mean, just look at the interior. Does that look like any other car you've ever seen? And I mean, I love concept cars. I think they're cool because it could give you a little bit of a glimpse of what we might see in 30 years. But that car, that's just not coming anytime soon. So, I don't know. I wish it would, but I highly doubt we see that car anytime before the C10. Anything that even looks like that. No, I don't hate the interior. I think it's really cool looking. Odds are good we'll never see anything that looks like that. But the fact that it has forged carbon fiber on it, right off the bat tells me it's very unlikely we see anything like that. Exactly. Hot Rod Todd says it comes with a hoist for you for your garage so you can, get yourself out of that thing. So you'll have a nice pulley system. I mean, how else are you going to get out of it? The top opens up and it leaves a bunch of painted surfaces. Like you're going to have to get on a ladder or something. It's not feasible. Concept cars don't have to be. That's the thing. Is like, they don't have to be feasible. They don't have to be convenient. They have to look cool and catch your attention. And that's exactly what's happened here. Perfect point. 10 Seconds Z06 says concepts are the dream that the designers would do if they didn't have regulations for safety or for anything. I mean, you don't really have to build a concept car around being super usable, something that a family of 4 can easily get in and out of. You don't have to do that because the car is never going to be built. So it's never going to matter. Yeah. 100% unobtainium. Can you imagine the constraints on unobtainium? Yeah, I can. Because we're pretty much there with Z07 package on the Z8 as it is, which is... We're 3 years into this car and you still can't get a Z07 package. I mean, it really is wild when you think about it. Can you imagine once they finally do start offering allocations for the ZR1, everything on that car is going to be on constraint. Everything. Because the carbon ceramic rotors are different than they are for the Z06 and E-Ray, so those are going to be on constraint. The carbon fiber wing, of course, for the ZTK package is very different. That's going to be on constraint. You know that. The first allocation round for this car, there's no doubt in my mind, ZTK package is on constraint. Now, if GM does it right, they're pushing back these allocations for the last 3 months, and they're doing that for the sole purpose of being able to come out and say, hey, here's 26 allocations, and ZTK is not on constraint. Have at it. If they were doing it the right way, that's what they would do. But I would be very surprised if the very first round of allocations we get for 26, if ZTK is not on constraint. I would be blown away if it's not. Yeah. She would look pretty sweet in that for sure. You just pick her up and plop. Unfortunately, you can't do that with a full-sized adult. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. Steven says, unless GM opens a hypercar division and makes low-volume, high-dollar cars to compete, I'm okay with that. Let's make that a thing. And if you rewind way back, literally whenever I first started my YouTube channel, which would have been 2018, I think it was late 2018. One of the very first videos I made was talking about Chevy making Corvette, either a combination of either making Corvette its own brand or giving Corvette its own maintenance centers. So instead of going to Chevrolet for maintenance on your Corvette, there'd be a main hub in most major cities. So there'd probably be one here in Pittsburgh where it's nothing. They literally do not touch your car unless it's a Corvette. And you go in there, they can then do your alignments that no one seems to be able to do with a Corvette. They do your oil changes, your transmission fluid changes, your filter changes. It's all done by a guy who is trained on Corvette. It's a great idea. No idea why it hasn't come to fruition yet. I mean, that was 7 years ago, 6 years ago. 123 thumbs ups currently. Guys, let's keep rocking those thumbs ups. We do have some more news to talk about. And again, Corvettes at Carlisle, I do want to mention this really quickly. For those of you who come into Corvettes at Carlisle, this is going to be kind of there's an event map over on their website, but I wanted to kind of go through this. If you come in gate 3, which is where that little orange dot is with the arrows, you'll come driving down there and you're going to go right into the manufacturer's midway. The very first purple line there is where I'm going to be located with me, AWE, Solar Performance, and right beside me, GM. So kind of to give you an idea, see if I can zoom in on this. This first purple manufacturer's midway purple line is where we'll be, right in there. So make sure you come by. You can see the orange little stop sign looking thing, then some arrows curving down around. First purple line, stop by and say hi. We'll all be there. So again, Corvettes at Carlisle, we're going to be doing dinners every night. So if you're interested in going out to dinner with a group of people, hang out at the booth, let us know, and we'll make sure that you're included in the plans. Other than that, we're really just going to hang out at the booth, talk cars. Like I said, we'll have some drinks there for you guys. Chairs we'll bring a bunch of chairs. You guys can literally just hang out, look at the cars. Yeah, that's Carlisle. There's really not a lot of planning that goes into Carlisle outside of setting up the booth, what car to bring, make sure things are done. But for the most part, we just hang out. It's like a live video, only we're actually there in person. Yeah, Hot Rod Todd says next to GM, that's prime real estate. I've been next to GM the last 3 years, I think, going there. It's pretty crazy. It's a nice placement for sure because, people kind of associate me with Corvettes and GM stuff anyway, so. Okay. Kevin Horan says any Grand Sports can park with him in the queue row. That's cool. That's nice of you, Kevin. Ricky says, assuming the world doesn't end by 2026, he'll see us next year. All right, man. I'm looking forward to it. I am not buying. We can all hang out, but I don't have deep enough pockets for that stuff. Maybe someday. Kevin, I would love to do so. I really would, but the problem is that I literally every second of my day is taken up standing there meeting you guys. And I'm totally fine with that. I am totally fine with that. Usually I end up not even being able to walk around, which is why I'll film whatever videos I'm going to film at Carlisle. I usually film those Wednesday whenever I get in when there's no one around yet. I'll walk around and look at the ZR1X is going to be there. I'll walk around and film some of that stuff. And I do that before the crowds start because once the crowds come in, I'd rather stand there and talk to you guys. I really would. That's what I want to do. So I don't get to walk around a lot. Yeah, that's it. Hang with Shane. I just want to see all of you guys come hang out with us. That's it. That's literally what I want to do is just hang out. That's what Carlisle is. LT4 Power says, stop buying Z06s every day and then I could afford everybody else's dinner. Yeah, I mean, let's think about which one of those is better. KP says, how's the C4 crowd there? It's actually not bad. There is a special section, and this might be related to Kevin Horan, actually. There's a special section for the Grand Sports. I think it was the Grand Sports for the C4. And then there's another section where there were some C4 ZR1s. They all like grouped together. So it's pretty cool. Squirrel Cage Garage says, the guy with a Z06, Z07, a ZR1, a TRX, and a Lyric doesn't have deep enough pockets to buy. That's why I don't have deep pockets. LT4 Power just said it. All my money goes into my cars. Need to walk around and hunt quail, yeah. Squirrel Cage, are you coming out to Carlisle? I'm pretty sure you said no, but you should. You should try to make it out. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that's what it was. ZR1 net registries, the C4 stuff. The C4 ZR1. You'll see a bunch of them there. It's pretty cool. Because like I've never actually seen one out in person, period. But you go to Carlisle and you'll see like 20 of them. It's freaking wild. Okay, so we looked at Carlisle a little bit. One thing I wanted to kind of touch on here is the 2026 C8 Corvette. The 2026 C8 Corvettes in general. Stingray, E-Ray, Z06, ZR1. There was a talk of them all getting buttons for the start-stop. If you guys are like me, there's not much that irritates you more than having to push that button every time you get into a car. So this was a talk about all 2026s getting this as a feature, basically. You would have to turn that off every single time you got in the car. I was pretty upset about that. And apparently a lot of people were online because now it looks like the major update has come out and they're talking about how now only the 2026 E-Rays and ZR1Xs are going to have start-stop. That button. It was initially reported that all 2026s were going to have it regardless of what model you got. Now it's going to be just the E-Ray and just the ZR1X, which is still weird because the E-Ray is not built for fuel economy. Neither is the ZR1X. So adding the start-stop button to it, if it makes a difference at all, it can't be much. And to add that to a car that's got 1,250 horsepower seems like such a stupid thing to do. So stupid. But I am glad that it's not going to be all the cars, because initially it was going to be all 2026s, and that would have been awful. Okay, guys, so we're a little over halfway into this thing. The giveaway for the month is, of course, from AWE. They are sponsoring the month of August here. They're going to give you a $1,000 gift certificate to place on any one of their exhausts. So if you want to win $1,000 off of your AWE exhaust, $10 donation will get you an entry. $50 or more is double entries. I don't think we have had any entries tonight, but all of these are going to be saved. Anybody who's donated throughout the month, you will be added right onto that list, of course. But if you want to try to get ahead, $10 is an entry, $50 or more is double entries. Make sure you get in on this, guys, because even if you donate $100 each week, that's $400, and your odds of winning are pretty good at that point. You're going to win an additional $600 towards an exhaust, so it makes sense. If you want to donate, like I said, you can do it through Venmo, which is pinned at the top of the chat, or you can do it right here on the Super Chat, right on YouTube. I'm going to get you entered either way. So let me see. On our list so far, Kevin Reynolds is leading with 60 entries. Jay Brazelton is next with 41. So get in on this, guys. It's really a good idea to do. Like I said, I'm going out Wednesday. I'm going out actually tomorrow, but I'll be getting my exhaust installed on Wednesday. And it's going to be AWE because, like I said, I looked for an alternative version, an alternative exhaust that I really liked, and I literally can't find it. Like, there's good exhausts out there, but there's no the exhaust from AWE is just fantastic. It's literally the best one that I have had on my Z06, and I feel like to some degree I don't want to go with a lesser exhaust just because it's different. So it'll be AWE for me again. All right, good point. Steven says the hybrid system electronics are tied into the start-stop function. I know because we tried tuning it out and I lost my electric motors. Alrighty. Yeah, the start-stop would really suck on the flat plane crank 5.5 liter V8. How are they going to warranty that engine? They're not actually doing that. It's only going to be the E-Ray and the ZR1X. So initially, it was going to be all of them. I'm glad that changed. Unfortunately, no. Professor Corvette says, can I apply these crown points that I have in the chat towards the drawing? If those crown points actually meant anything, I mean, it's really more of a feel-good thing. Like, oh, look, I'm number 2. I'm number 1. In reality, it doesn't actually do anything. Anthony George says, are you doing sport cats again? No, this time I'm doing cat deletes. I'm going to try to change it up a little bit because I really like the way the exhaust sounded with cat deletes on the AWE, or the sport cats on the AWE system. But I feel like with cat deletes, it's going to sound even better. That's not a bad idea. Stephen Rapp says, Justin, did you see offer about setting up live feed at booth? That would be cool. Did someone offer that? I mean, that would be kind of an intense undertaking because it's gonna be a couple days worth of a live video. That'd be kind of wild. That'd be wild, actually. It's kind of cool. It's a cool idea, but it would be a full-time job for someone to monitor that because, I mean, you're talking about a lot of battery power, a lot of internet connectivity issue possibility. I mean, it's a lot. Oh boy, not yet. We'll talk about what that's going to mean later, I guess. See, NBA Live says the problem with AWE is they don't do titanium. That is a problem, and that's also a good thing. Titanium is not always all it's cracked up to be, and there's a couple reasons for my thoughts on that. But again, the most important one is that I have not seen a titanium exhaust yet that has exhaust tips that I like the looks of, unless you have a blue car. The titanium exhaust tips on a blue car look freaking awesome. But if your car's not blue, I don't like the way they look. Yeah, so again, Steven says it would sound sick, but the check engine light would drive him nuts. It would drive me nuts too. I do have a fix for that. We're going to be talking all about that. That's the majority of what I'm going to focus on in that video is the fix I have for making that light not come on. 132 thumbs ups currently. We got 150 people watching, guys. Smash the thumbs up. Really nice. It helps the channel out a lot, and of course, will help get this video out to other people. Justin, have you seen the Concept 841 headers? They're F1 inspired. I have not. I've only seen American Racing and Cooks so far. Where's that booth going to be, Professor Corvette? I don't believe that that's real. Titanium is lighter, but the difference ends up being less than 10 pounds off of the AWE system or something like that. It's really not worth it to me. But a lot of people ask this, Jay. So Jay Brazelton says, which AWE exhaust are you getting, Justin? For the Z06, there is only one option. That's it. For the C8 Stingray, you have the option of touring or track. But for the Z06, you have one option. Yeah, guys, let's make those numbers match. 150 people watching, 135 thumbs up. So let's get to 150. That'll work. That's a good place to be. Again, guys, if you want to get entered for the AWE exhaust $1,000 coupon giveaway, every $10 is an entry. $50 or more is double entries. So you can give right here on the channel through Super Chat or in my pinned comment with the Venmo link. 10 seconds Z06 says spacers on rear O2 sensors. That might or might not work. And the problem with doing those is a friend of mine, actually a subscriber to the channel, recently did that on his and had the mini cat, which is basically kind of like a spacer on it. It actually exploded and could have potentially caused a lot of damage. So those aren't the best options. Yeah, that's Bill Miller says a lot of the same things I was thinking. He says titanium exhausts have a few bad points. Typically, they're more expensive than stainless steel. Furthermore, they are very prone to cracking, especially at the welds under extreme heat cycling. That's always been an issue with titanium, is that they can potentially crack. I love the lightweight of it. Obviously, I'm a big fan of titanium as far as that's concerned, but I don't love the tip option, options, I should say. So like the AWE tips are freaking phenomenal. They're black / cut tips. They're beautiful tips, and they replace the faux tips that are in the center of the Z06 bumper, and I think they look great. Just can't find anybody else that makes anything like that for titanium exhausts. But it wouldn't matter at this point. It's I'm already scheduled with AWE, so that's where we're going. So let's see. We got one. I think we got one entry for the giveaway tonight in Venmo. Let me open this up here. See who this was so I can get them added to the list. Looks like Anthony George is in for $50, so he'll get in for 10 more entries. Anthony. Okay. Anthony George is in for 10. All right, guys. Again, if you want to jump in on this, I would highly suggest it. Worst case scenario, you don't win, but it goes towards a good cause, because any of the donations that come in have been given back into the channel itself. Obviously the live videos have been, if you go back and look at the first live video I did, these live videos are significantly better than they were whenever we first started doing this stuff. So you should be able to see where the funds are being allocated. But yeah. So 10 Seconds 06 says he just saw an AWE video called Switch Path where they use the valves for touring mode. That's it. So AWE, the only exhaust they offer for the Z06 is called the Switch Path exhaust. That's basically their branding, their marketing terms for the fact that you can still open and close the exhaust baffles. So if you want it to be quiet, you can make it that way, or you can have it just basically be straight piped. What did Dave do with he is going to take them. I'm taking them out to him at Carlisle, so he'll have it at that point, and then he's probably going to do an install video with it, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, Steven, it looks like you're not counted as a member anymore. You can just change your credit card, update it on YouTube. Once that's updated, it will just automatically charge that every month, and then it will keep you that way. It'll keep you in the special green status member area. 138 thumbs ups currently, guys. That's awesome. Let's keep rolling with that. Professor Corvette says, will Horsepower Obsessed have a special live stream from Carlisle? I might. If I get there early enough on Wednesday and there's something cool enough, I might throw up a live video. It kind of has to be later towards the night because it gets so hot at that show, believe it or not. If I do a live video during the day, it will almost guaranteed it will overheat my phone. And then the quality turns into like a couple like moving blocks is all you can really see. So yeah, we'll do it later at night. I'll most likely do one on Wednesday night whenever I'm there, as long as the ZR1Xs are sitting out. But yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. That is something that's coming. All right, looks like we got another Venmo. Let's see. That's from Kevin. Kevin Reynolds is in for another 50, so that gives him another 10 entries. So he's still leading the pack now. He's leading with 70 entries. Thanks, Kevin. Again, guys. Yeah, Ricky says, please do one so I can be there with you guys in spirit. I probably will do one Wednesday night as long as I get there early enough. It's pretty much got to be at night, though. So even if I did one Thursday or Friday, it would have to be after the show. Fusion GT says, is RSC ever going to release the ZR1 wing? I'm pretty sure they did, but I will talk to them. They'll be at Carlisle with me, by the way. I keep forgetting to mention that he's going to be in that booth. Bill from RSC and TJ will both be there, and he'll have his car there with different RSC parts on it than what my car has on it. So be sure to come out and check him out. I mean, you could talk to him too and ask him personally. But hey, where's the ZR1 wing? I got one on my car, as you guys probably saw the pictures, but if not, that full video will be coming soon where Bill and I actually talk about all of the different options you can have. Because yeah, you can do a ZR1 wing, you can do a Z06 wing, or a Z07 package wing. You can do a Z07 wing with 2-inch higher risers or stanchions. You can do a ducktail wing, which is more just like a sloping carbon fiber wing. So they have 4 options in wings just right there. They have 2 different options of side skirts, full length or 3/4 length, like the car comes standard with. They have 3 different options for the front splitter on the Z06. You can do your just upgraded aero on the front, or you can do the upgraded aero with the canards, or you can go a different route completely, which I'm not going to tell you what that is yet because it's on my car and we're going to talk about that in that video. Lots of options from Racing Sport Concepts for these cars. Lots of options. Technically, he does. Ricky, he says tell Bill to make a high E-ray wing. Technically, he does because the mounting points and everything would be the same as they are on a Z06. Yeah, guys, let's get those thumbs ups going. Let's see where we're at with that. So we got 2 donations tonight for the AWE. You guys should get in on this. I'm telling you, you're going to regret not doing it. Looks like we are at 141 thumbs ups now. Let's keep rolling with those guys. Let me see if there's any more news here. So we talked about that. One thing to note that was kind of cool was on the Corvette, mid-engine Corvette forum.com, there was a delivery of a ZR1 that was done at the museum. And it came with, of course, it was Sebring orange exterior and the Habanero interior. And you can see on the steering wheel there, it says ZR1. It's a pretty cool looking spec. It's a little too much orange, if you ask me. If you're not going to get the competition seats, that's too much orange on the seat. I personally think, at least. But, of course, it is Sebring orange with black racing stripes. And then the painted split window option in the back. Looks pretty cool. I'm still trying to get used to the car, the ZR1, that without the freaking camera up there at the top. I'm still trying to get used to that. It still kind of throws me for a loop every time I see that. Cars Guys, what's up, man? Holy cow, it's been a while since I've seen that name on YouTube. He says, hey, Jay, hearing that carbon ceramic rotors are virtually indestructible, barring track usage, are they lifetime rotors? Yes, they are. So you would never have to replace a rotor on that car as long as you don't go to the track, every day of your life. Even if you go to a track once here and there, it'll still be fine. You'll never have to replace them though. If you never track the car, you'll never replace those. NBA says I'm surprised RC hasn't come out with an active aero wing. Never say never. Anthony George says that they do installs too, right? RSC kind of does, if that's what you're getting at. There has to be a certain amount of product purchased for them to do it, because that's not really what they're set up to do. But if you purchase enough product, it makes sense for them to help you out, is ultimately what I've been told. 10 Seconds Z06 says, how do you get a ZR1 without competition seats? I'll tell you what, I'm a huge fan of competition seats, but in my Seawolf Gray Z06, I didn't spec it, so it came with GT2 seats. They're pretty solid too. I mean, I still would, if it's my spec, I'm getting competition. But at the same time, I don't want to discount GT2 seats because they're pretty friggin' awesome. Yeah, indestructible might not be the best word for it, but if you don't track the car, those brakes will last longer than you will. 140 up, 145 thumbs ups. It's awesome, guys. Let's keep going with it. Asymmetrical interior look cool on the ZR1. It does look pretty neat. It's something I can appreciate looking at, but it was something I would never be able to buy. My OCD would not let me do it. That's interesting. So Professor Corvette says the Sebring ZR1X I saw last Friday at the NCM had the ZR1 emblem and not the ZR1X on the steering wheel and between the seats. Huh. Actually, that's interesting that you say that. I've never seen the steering wheel on a ZR1X. So are they going to actually put the X on that, on the actual steering wheel stamp? That's an interesting point. I've not thought about that. Robert Brunn says, I have 57,000 miles on my 1901. Good for you, dude. And he says his rotors are in good shape. I believe it. If you're not tracking the car and beating the crap out of it, those rotors will last forever. Sean says the competition seats squeeze my hips too much. I've heard that from some people. That kind of surprises me. It doesn't quite make sense because I love the competition seats. And yeah, I don't know. I guess, everybody's different. So you should probably sit in the seat before you decide on which one you're going to purchase. Handyman Clutch says, looking to get a Z06, should I look for the front lift or can I put my air suspension on the car? Haven't seen many Z06s on air ride. Not sure why. I personally would just get the front end lift. I think the front end lift is literally the option that you should not buy a C8 without. But with that said, if you want to go air suspension, you could do that. I think the biggest reason you're not going to find people doing that on a Z06 is because of the added weight and the fact that the suspension on the car is already pretty solid. So, yeah, actually, KP says, horsepower obsessed, do you like the squared steering wheel on the C8? I absolutely love the steering wheel on the C8 Z06 especially because it adds the carbon on the top and bottom. I think that wheel is phenomenal. Yeah, Darren says I have carbon ceramics on 3 of my cars, the oldest one being my 2011 ZR1, and they all look like new with little to no dust. That's it, Hot Rod Todd. The ZR1X will be ready to go. Everything's good, but the emblem for the steering wheel will be on constraint, so they won't be able to sell the car. Oh, marketing photos show ZR1X. I never actually noticed that. I'm going to have to go back and look through them now. Kelly says, when's the RSC video coming? I should have that out. I was hoping to have it out before Carlisle, but it's looking like it's going to be a little bit after Carlisle. So probably, hopefully before next Monday night, but we'll see. Yeah, NBA says I think the new asymmetrical interior is not going to sell well. I don't think it will either. It's going to be kind of one of those niche things where they'll probably sell like 10 of them. Kevin Reynolds says, with all the Z06 purchases and sales with the ZR1 coming up, you're going to be required to get a dealership license. I actually already have a dealership license. Or no, not a dealership, a salesman license. 147 thumbs ups currently. Yeah, the front end lift has the GPS coordinates. It's very well worth it. Definitely, hands down, the best. The only option I would say on the C8 is an absolute must-have is the front lift. Yeah. Front lift's a must-have. Totally agree. The Squircle steering wheel, yeah. I don't think it. Actually, I think the asymmetrical was limited to the black and red. I don't actually recall now. If you look at the stance of my car currently, I personally think that's perfect. I don't see a reason to go much lower than that, and it completely closes in the wheel gaps where the car looks like it's sitting right on the tires as it is, and that is an inch drop. Not even an inch. It's like just shy of an inch. I think anything more than that, you're really going to start causing problems for yourself. And I personally think if you go too low, it doesn't look good. I think the less than a little hair less than an inch drop, and you're perfect. All right, let's take a look at this. Are you going to Carlisle this year? We had 157 votes. 27% said yes. 73 said no. So that's pretty good. I'm going to end that poll, though, because that's all. That's all there is to it. Yeah. Professor Corvette said it is black and red seats, but any exterior color. The only one I've seen it on was black so far. So I'm not sure. Also, you can mix competition driver seat and GT2 passenger. Yeah, you can make two different styles of seat and two different colors of seat. Oh, that's right. I did see a blade silver asymmetrical car. You're right. So it doesn't, the exterior color doesn't seem to matter, but the interior seems like it might have to be red of some kind. Looks like we got 149 thumbs ups currently, guys. That's great. Let me see what else here. So again, guys, if you haven't seen it, check out the C8 Corvette we have for sale over at the HPO Vet Exchange. It has now been lowered down to $72,000. Has over $107,000 of mods in it, or into the car basically. Arctic white with Expel Stealth, so it gives it like that frosted white look. Custom painted wheels to match. The Sky Cool gray interior. Yellow brake calipers and seat belts. It's really a beautiful car. I've seen this a couple times in person. The person selling it's actually local to me. And again, very, very, very low mileage on this car as well. 3,700 miles. If you're interested, let me know. We'll definitely get you hooked up with it. But outside of that, guys, the AWE exhaust giveaway we are going to end next Monday. Yeah, next Monday night will be the last day for that. And then we're going to draw a winner. So if you haven't gotten your entry on that yet, you definitely should, because it is going to be really nice to win $1,000 off, or potentially $10. So it looks like we got 149 thumbs ups now. That's pretty cool. Don't you get a check engine light with no cats? Yes, you do. I mean, you will almost immediately from what I understand. But I have a way to fix that. So stay tuned, guys. Like I said, I'm going to get the AWE exhaust installed on Wednesday. Afterwards, I got to do the cat delete myself. So hopefully that's done shortly after that. And then I'll have that video out for you guys to check out, because it's a really cool option too. It's something that doesn't require a whole lot of effort. Alice says, I saw 2026 Roswell Green 01X last weekend, and I have pictures. Would you like to send? Yeah, sure. Just horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com. I'm always happy to see that kind of stuff. But anyway, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for tonight. So I think that's going to do it. If you guys have any specific questions about Carlisle, feel free to email me. It's just horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com. I'd like for you to come. I'd like for you to come and hang out at the booth. So if you have any questions about it, just email me. Other than that, if you're coming to Carlisle, I'll see you at Carlisle. If not, I'll see you guys same time, same place next Monday night. So yeah, that's it. Stay obsessed.